Hello everybody and welcome to Amphlett Reviews, back with a Hong Kong content review, continuing on with Jackie Chan's double bill, which is Project A Part 2 on the fantastic 88 Films brand new 4K release. As mentioned, I've done the first one already. If you want to see that review, it's on the channel. And I've also done an unboxing for this amazing edition that 88 Films has put out, jam-packed full of brand new special features, audio commentaries, new extras, poster booklet, the full 9 yards, 4K edition transfers, including Region A locked Blu-rays as well. So really an amazing pack, definitely a big step up from the Eureka release, and Project A Part 2 was next on the viewing essentially. Similar to the first one, I haven't seen this film since I first watched it so many years ago back in COVID, and if I'm being honest, I didn't remember much about it. I remember the ending of the fight, I remember the scaffolding, but I didn't know really what to expect going in. I didn't remember the jokes, and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes watching something you haven't seen in quite some long time is good for the, just for an entertainment factor wise. And similar to Project A Part 1, absolute blast watching that. Really enjoyed it. So many good things to talk about that film. And Project A Part 2, I hope for the same thing. And for more or less, I actually got a pretty goddamn good film. Again, directed by Jackie Chan, written by Jackie Chan, stars Jackie Chan. This was his film compared to what the first one was, more of a collaboration with obviously Yoon Byung and Sammo Hong. This time around, him being the main lead focus. This one, him putting all the work into this film, and then him reaping the benefits also. Funny enough, this was released in 1987. This was 1 year after Armor of Gods, after his major incident in terms of his injury in that film, and prior to Dragons Forever, which would be the collaboration film with Yoon Byung and Sammo Hong, which is fantastic. Loves Dragons Forever, and his Police Story 2 as well. So 2 sequels within about a year apart of each other, which I think is quite fascinating. And it's, while on the topic of Police Story 2, this definitely feels like a Police Story 2 situation. And, you can definitely tell that Jackie's, what his directing style is and what his storytelling is. And, he's definitely trying to up the game. He's definitely trying to make a bigger film, kind of thing. And this film continues off from one of the events of the first movie. Does a little bit of a recap, and has the pirates left over that survived the kind of the incidents happened in the first film, and it kind of jumps straight into this new plot, and it's set within the same kind of time period in the 19th century. He's a very successful project. Project A has been very successful. He's been given a new duty to basically go back to the kind of land police, because he's a naval officer, and he's been given this kind of district to basically go and take down this kind of new kind of crime syndicate organization essentially. And you've got loads of different kind of sub storylines going on and intertwining with each other, and various kind of things crossing each other's path. And this is something that Jackie Chan is known for doing. And I think with the first film, he did it to such a masterful degree, and being the fact that film has so much going on and it's so rapid fire, that film is just pure full of energy from start to finish. And while this film, I do think it tries to go for a bigger idea, tries to go for a much kind of like, bigger kind of stunts and bigger kind of action, and tries to do similar kind of comedy, more traditional kind of wheelhouse. I don't think it works as well. I think there is a little too much going on. It's a little bit messier. It's a lot more serious compared to the first one, which is much to my surprise. There is comedy in the film, but it's more situational comedy, and all that stuff is really good. And while I do appreciate all the comedies in the film, while I do actually quite like Project A Part 2, I understand it's a bit more of a lesser movie compared to the first one. Not to say it's a bad film by any means. I definitely think Project A Part 2 is a lot stronger than Police Story 2, which, if you've seen my video for that film, I've watched that film a few times now. I'm quite definitive in my opinion. While I do like Police Story 2, there was a lot of issues with it, and it's nowhere near as good as the first film. And while I feel the same for this as well, I do think this is a much stronger movie. I definitely think when the comedy is there, and I think when it is part of the situational with multiple different people. And what I mean by situational humor, I mean a very similar gag that's presented within Millionaires Express, and I think it's in quite a few other movies as well, where you get one location and you got multiple people basically kind of in different situations. They don't want to disturb everyone else. You've got people in closets, you've got people higher up, you've got people under the bed, and everyone's just kind of playing very kosher. Everyone's just being very kind of like still and quiet, and while still being threatening at the same time with guns and knives and all sorts, and no one wants to be seen or heard kind of thing. And then until eventually it all unravels and everyone kind of is pointing each other's fingers, and it's that kind of situational comedy is very funny and very fun, and being the fact you got some great actors and some good villains in the mix of it, you know, facial expressions, all that kind of stuff. You know, there's a whole singing kind of sequence as well to kind of buy Jackie time to take out one of the bad guys. That's pretty funny. It's pretty good. You can definitely tell watching this film his inspiration for doing something like a Miracles film, which he would later do and direct. He's definitely becoming a lot more of an ambitious filmmaker. In this film, I definitely feel like there is moments where he wants a bit of a pause, he wants time to breathe a little bit. Massive sequence that just happened within this kind of like general's daughter's birthday, which takes place, and that has multi-layered. That's a lot going on in that film in terms of some of the sub-stories and the way the camera work is, and the costumes and the location, the music. All of it is basically showing, hey, I'm really enjoying this kind of, you know, specific kind of time period, this kind of specific kind of look, and he's kind of flexing his muscles a little bit, not just within a literal sense of him doing these kind of stunt works and this dangerous kind of, you know, fighting, but also just as a filmmaker, as a kind of a storyteller as well. And you can definitely tell he's continuously trying to push the envelope a little bit within his kind of, you know, filmmaking, which I think is definitely a lot more beneficial in this. Also, surprisingly, you've got Rosemary and Quan, which is one of our kind of rebel resistance kind of, you know, storylines going on, which is quite interesting. And then you've got Maggie Chung as well, which is great, kind of a reunion from Police Story, of course, and she adds some of the comedy factor, and you definitely tell she's also stepping up a little bit as well in terms of doing some of those really dangerous stunts. And the end of the film shows some behind the scenes of her having kind of like pads and stuff. So it's nice to see her kind of step up a little bit in terms of some of those action moments. And you can definitely tell Maggie Chung is a force to be reckoned with. I would say if you love the first film, you're definitely going to enjoy the continuation of this film as well, in terms of the comedy, the action, the performance is already fantastic. The location, the set designs and all that stuff is absolutely gorgeous. It's really fantastic. And yeah, overall, I think Project A Part 2 is a really good time. It's a lot of fun for sure. Jackie Chan's having an absolute blast on this film. While there is some negative in terms of too many storyline plots going on, the pacing is not as good as it could be. I definitely think he definitely delivers in terms of a sequel. I definitely think it offers quite a different film. It's not giving you the same kind of, you know, rinse and repeat type of film compared to the first one. It's definitely a lot more personal. It's a bit more serious. It's definitely commentating on the time of the 19th century. It's definitely demonstrating more of a filmmaking kind of style, while still having really good moments of action and comedy, just done in a different way, which I think is really good. I think the villains are great in the film as well. Some of the storylines are great. You've got two amazing female action, you know, co-stars in this film, which really are given some good performances alongside some great villains as well. That's been my thoughts and opinions on Project A Part 2, guys. What are your thoughts? Please comment down below. What is your favorite of the Jackie Chan's kind of sequels in terms of what he's done? You know, he's done some great movies with Arm of God, and I'm very curious to see what are your thoughts and opinions on that. Please comment down below. So in the meantime, guys, Amphlett Reviews, signing out.